Down standing on the canal here, how long has this been established?
The canal I dug out 2 years ago, and I'm still getting it to how I exactly want it, but another year or so it'll look the business. We hope. It looks quite nice now.
Certainly does. Reeds are coming along on the far bank. But what's the membership for the complex?
The membership at the moment is £50 a year to fish all the waters, but we do a day ticket of £4 a day on the small one, which is at the back of the house.
Right. Open for membership now?
It is open for membership. You'll never get it crowded actually over here because, as you know yourself, you need sort of like 5,000 members to get 85 pegs actually full up. But that never happens. You only get an average in the peak of the season of 7% of your membership at any one time, and then after the first few weeks it drops down to 5%, and as the winter time comes on it actually drops down to 2%. And that's what I've found over the past 15 years of the actual first lake. When I first dug it out, I kept a record on an average of how many members turn up, and that's what it seems to be. So, you know, it never gets crowded. As you can see now, we're the only people actually on the canal.
No, that's right, and hopefully I'll give it a go and we'll see how we get on later. You've got so many lakes here. Can you just run through them, tell us average depths and methods?
Well, on the big lake, George, you've got carping up to £20, but you've got a load of like good sized fish, like £9 or £10. But it's not only a carp water. I mean, you've got roach in it at £2, perch up to £3, tench up to £4. You know, all good, you know, fish. An average fisherman in a day's fishing out of that water would catch at least 30 to £50 of fish on a day's fishing. You've got depth on the right hand side of the lake as you come into it from the house. You've got depths from 8 to 10 foot, and on the left hand side of the lake it varies between 3 to 5 foot. So you've got, and each swim has got its own characteristics. It's different depths in every swim.
Lovely features, nice features on the
water, yeah.
Reed beds.
And reed beds. You haven't got a lot of pads in that one. Your main ones with your pads in, as I say, what we call a lily pad pond, which is the one dead in front of the house, and that's got carpeting up to £14, all round fish again, every species of fish in the water. You've got depth where the pads are around about 3 to 4 foot, but we've just made it bigger, extended it this year, and it's 6 to 8 foot in the deeper parts. And it's got 18 swims on it, that particular one.
Yeah, that's just a new bit you've added on this year?
New bit we've added on this year, yeah. And the carp seem to be showing in the actual new bit rather than the old bit. The small fish are coming out in the old bit, and the bigger fish seem to be showing in the deeper water.
Oh, that's getting established nicely then. What about the day ticket?
The day ticket water, you've got breaming up to £4. Again, you've got perch up to £3. I say there's not as many carp in there as there is in the big lake or in the lily pad pond, but good quality perch, good quality roach, an average depth of 6 to 7 foot all over that particular one.
So that fishes well?
It fishes well, it does fish well. And just because it's a day ticket, well, doesn't mean to say it's not as good as the other waters. The reason I have it as a day ticket is so guests, because no guests are allowed on the waters to actually fish, they can sit with you, but we have that as a day ticket so you can take a guest and he can sit on that water at £4 a day.
Just get a feel of what the fisheries are like.
And the canal, well, the canal I think is going to be my favourite within the next, well, it's getting on to be my favourite now. I mean, you can bag up here with, well, I've had £15 of fish out of here in 2.5 hours. I mean, all ranging between sort of 2 or 3 ounces up to a pound. But loads of roach, rudd, perch, tench, bream. It's not very deep actually. You've got an average depth at this end where you're going to be fishing, George, is about 5 foot deep. At the deepest you might find you're only 4 foot, and it's down a little bit, but between 4 and 5 foot, and as it narrows out down the, as it goes up, it's wider here and it narrows off down the other end, it's about 3 foot deep. But good fishing.
Lovely. Like to sample it just right now, I'd like to sample.
I'll let you carry it on then, George, and I hope you get plenty of fish.
Thanks very much. Thanks. Have a look at ground baits. A lot of people come into the shop and ask which ground bait to use, why. So today on a canal like this, not a lot of flow or movement on it, I'm going to start off using a surface ground bait which we call Cloud. It's a ground bait which doesn't contain a lot of food particles, and you can either break it up, make it up on a dry mix, so it bursts on the surface, or you can make it up as a slop, very wet, which makes it easier to throw if you're fishing at quite a longer distance. I'm going to be fishing a long pole later on, but I won't be using the cloud because I'm going to be fishing on the bottom after the better quality fish. In this instance, on this canal, I'll be using a heavier ground bait. The same doesn't contain a lot of food, but gets down to the bottom and breaks on the bottom, making the particles lift and move. All the oily hemp, there's quite a bit of hemp in this, and the particles move up in a column and attract the fish from all the sides and make them come down onto the bait that you've introduced into it.
That's okay.
We talked about a few ground baits and heavy ones, light ones. If you ask Steve or myself in the shop, any time, we'll always be too pleased to talk all through them if you like. The most common mistakes people make, they buy the right ground bait, but they mix it up incorrectly. So I'm going to show you how to do that right now. Right, here we go then. I'm going to mix up this for the long pole. It's quite a heavy mix, but it's a bottom feeding ground bait. What we need to do with this ground bait, because the ground bait is quite expensive, I'm going to just put half a bag of Census Lake in the bowl, and I'm going to pad it out with brown crumb. It's a lot cheaper to use brown crumb for padding out ground baits. It makes it go quite a long way, and bearing in mind we're in the summer, and we're just using it as an attractor. It doesn't hurt to mix a bit of crumb in with it. Right, we put half a bag of Lake in there and the crumb, so we mix that up. You've got to make sure all the crumb is mixed in so you get a nice overall smooth mix. Quite important to have it in a bowl like this so you can flick it about. This is perhaps not quite as big, but I'm not using a big quantity of ground bait, so it'll do for now. Right, that don't look too bad. What I normally do, before I put any water with it, I run it once through the riddle, just to take any bits of paper or any big lumps of seed like what you've got there, you see in there, big bits of corn, just to get rid of them out of there. Now let's put that back into the ground bait bowl. There we go. Right, then we can start to add a drop of water. Now this is where a lot of people make the big mistake of pouring the water in all over it and absolutely getting a lot of particles saturated, and then it doesn't spread throughout the ground bait. You go to throw a ball of it out where you've got a dry part through the middle and it will just split in half. So my technique I use for putting the water in the ground bait, I pour it over the back of my hand, and as it goes over the back of my hand it goes down, drips into the bowl like that, and you start to get a mix. We don't really want a big wet mix out of this. The crumb absorbs quite a bit of water. You can see already that's starting to come together. You just got to keep working it, both hands, plenty of air. A little drop more water in that. So if you put too much water in with it, that's what you get. You start to get lumps like that. Well, them lumps, we'll show you what to do with in a minute. Drop more water in there. It's coming up nicely. once it starts to come together, you can feel, by putting your fingers in it, you can feel how light that's going to be, the ground bait, once you get to the finished product. So even now you can hold that together, just give that one little squeeze like that and you've got a lump. Do that again. One little squeeze, you've got a lump, but it'll still break down so the particles are going. So as soon as that goes in, being a little bit heavier ground bait, this will sink to the bottom and then start to break up, and all the particles will start to float and come up in the water in a big column, moving up and down. Right, that's not too bad, that's about right now. So what we'll do, we'll run that through the riddle and the tray in there. You'd be amazed, actually you see how much particles have got more water than others. And that through there. There you are. Now you don't waste them, you just rub them across the riddle. Yeah, get that shape, chuck that lot away. Get out another mix around in the bigger tray there. And now that's a lovely bit of ground bait. Light. So if you, with this sort of ground bait, what I would do over the back, what I'm going to do is probably introduce 3 or 4 balls of ground bait about the size of an egg, and then I'll start fishing the whip, and once we've caught a few on the whip, hopefully we'll go out and see what this has introduced. That ground bait, a ball of ground bait, and it just collapses and goes back to a lovely, lovely smooth. There we are. Right, what I'm going to do is put a few casters in that and then put a couple of balls out over on the long pole line.
When?
Right, I've just set myself up there. Going to have a little go on this canal. It looks quite nice. It's got just a nice bit of ripple on it. So I thought I'd start off on a 4 metre whip, fishing a 6 No. 9 style float to take a few rudd off the top. Seen a few fish topping. I'll start off there, a little bit of surface cloud, perhaps fish a pinky to start with to see what I'll get on it, and if they start coming good I'll go on a big maggot. After that perhaps I'll put a bit of ground bait over the back against the reeds and see if we can get any bigger fish, which I know is in here. I've got to fish it about, I've plumbed up over the back there on the long pole, that's about 3.5 feet deep. So we'll have a go on the whip and see how we get on. I've been fishing the whip, hadn't had any bite. I've had a few little rudd on it. I've decided to put a little bit of cloud ground bait in, what I've knocked up, hoping it'll bring a few fish up to the surface. Right, I'm getting into a few fish now. Some quality rudd coming in onto that ground bait. There we go, there we go. Quality fish, only using a 0.5 end, so I have to be careful what I am swinging in, because some of these rudder go 3-4 ounce fish. It's a lovely quality rudd, golden rudd. I've had a few of them like that, a few smaller ones. But the bigger ones are starting to come on into that cloud of ground bait. Chuck a little bit of ground bait out there. They're even coming up after the ground bait. There we go again. Another quality fish. Always going. Oh yes. Another rudd. Netting this one. Don't fancy swinging it. You've got to assess when you actually catch a bigger fish. You've got to assess it pretty quickly, and don't hesitate. If you think you're going to lift it, lift it. Don't hesitate. If you start to hesitate, you'll lose it. They're mopping that back. This is certainly a way of speed fishing. When you're fishing a match with them sort of quality fish, you could build a good weight over a 5-hour period. No ground bait this time. Oh, missed that one. Didn't touch the maggot, so we'll go out again. A little bit of ground bait. And we're in again. Another rudd. Oh, not quite as big. We'll swing him. Oh, that's caught right in the scissors here.
I still can't tell you until you see.
This might decide me. Doing this, or the thing is, it could double bluff me this. Because I've got a method. I'm going on the big lake. That's the one. I'm going to go on the big lake. But I've got a method for fishing.
Do you film in all this? I'll put them in the back of your van, so they take them out the van. Well, I can't speak, mate.
He will be here.
He said he won't have them here yet.
That's what he said to you?
Yeah.
When did he say that?
Told me that this morning.
He didn't say no, yeah, I hope so, because he couldn't film it.
But you can't pick it up on that, can you? Yeah.
Yeah, we'll pick it up. It's not too bad, it's a windy one. Oh yes, there's another good rug. Another good rug. Ground was quite right, there's some quality fish in here. And they're coming thick and fast now since I put that ground bait in. They're coming onto it really big. Nice fish. That's a bar whistle, but they still don't want to come out. There we go. Use that same pinky. Damaged, but I'll use it again. You just see how they're coming onto these feed that I'm putting in. Coming thick and fast. Missed that one. Take it, pinky. I'm using a pinky on the hook rather than a big maggot. They don't seem to damage the pinky quite as much as they do a big maggot. So you get more fish on the same maggot. Hence it makes it faster, especially in the match fishing. That's another one. All rudd. Haven't had any roach yet at all. Which is quite surprising. Same pinky again. Out there again. Right went there before I got any ground bait in. There we go. They're really starting to boil on the top. They need a lot of feed. So, make the bait quite quickly now. Pinky. Burst. That's one thing you mustn't do when you put a maggot on it, put it on correctly so that it don't burst on you and all the juice of the maggot comes out and it won't wriggle. And again, just a few people this time because they're really eating the ground bait as well by the look of it, and the lumps they put in. It's another good fish. Might be just a lift a bit lively, but he's a lifter, just about a lifter. You know that pinky at all? One on that. Two on it. I can't see how many we get on the one pinky. Two fish on that so far. Loose feed. Oh, I missed that. Oh, that's a shame. Big pinky. Right, I've been fishing now for about an hour. Got to shoot off because I'm going to fish a match tonight. In that hour I started off on the loose feed pinkies, but didn't get a lot on that. As soon as I introduced the ground bait, I started to pick up quality rudd, and they are quality rudd, 4 or 5 ounce fish. You can build a match weight. I'd like a few of these tonight. Well, there we are. Hope you've enjoyed the little video we've tried to make. Have a look at it in the shop. You might get a bit of help out of it. Let's hope you do.